Let me show you how to use the momentum charts that are here in this chapter. You have a broad variety of general market ETFs, specialty ETFs, industry sector ETFs, etc. But they all have the basic same theme as to how to use them. Now when you click on one of these links, in your browser up pops a chart like this. Now here's an example of an excellent momentum buy that was generated and is doing extraordinarily well here in the summer of 2016. This is the US dividend ETF. Now here on the chart we have the Canadian stock market in green, the Standard & Poor's 500 US ETF in red, and the ETF that we're looking at here in black. And this line, once again, is a running 9-month momentum. So at the moment, over the last 9 months, this ETF has done about 18% higher than it was 9 months ago. And the Canadian market and the US market are 8 or 9% higher than they were 9 months ago. So that is illustrated down here as well. So the black line, which is the dividend ETF, is above both the US and Canadian market performance. So that's what we're looking for. We want an ETF that's doing better than the US and Canadian markets. And don't forget, all of these are converted to Canadian dollars, so we're apples to apples comparisons. And this is one that we should be holding. Now, when was it a buy? Well, it was always above the Canadian market in green here. So the performance there would have had to be buy versus Canadian. But versus the US market, it only became a buy here in early January, right in here, when it started to outperform the US market as well as the Canadian market. So from that time onward, we see that it's above the zero reference line, which means that the black line is running above both markets. And it's doing great. Early in January, interest rates started falling. People had expected them to go up. So this type of dividend investment is doing extremely well. Now let's look at the opposite. Let's look at something from a momentum standpoint would be a sell. So clicking on the Europe ETF link down below in the table, you would get this popping up in your browser. This is the Europe ETF. Once again, Canada in green, US in red, and this Europe ETF in black. So what we see here right now is over the last 9 months, it's down about 7%, whereas once again, Canada and US are up 7 or 8%. So the black line is below both markets. So clearly something you would be avoiding. In fact, there was no time at all in the past that the Europe ETF was above both US and Canadian market. It was above the Canadian market here. That was when the Canadian market was doing so poorly. So here's an area that you would be avoiding. And I got to say, I follow experts that think that Europe last year was a great buy because it was so cheap compared to the US market. And yet it's gone down and down and down. So going with the flow, using momentum strategy, you would have avoided this calamity, and you would have been in positive things like the dividend ETF that were going up. So a huge difference in performance. So that is momentum investing in action, and that's using these charts which make things jump out at you as far as performance. Thank you.